I'm sitting here at the Ivory Tree Lodge, just outside the Pilanesberg Game Reserve, Africa, and I've known Samantha for a couple of years. She's a natural health consultant, does an awesome job, has helped so many people with their health, and her own story is fascinating because she had cancer many years ago. So I'm going to ask her to tell us, in her own words, her health history and why she's on the natural way and how she lives basically. Samantha, you told me that you had a cancer at the age of 18. Do you want to just start from what your symptoms were and how you were diagnosed, and then what made you change your lifestyle and how it progressed from there, and just share with us all the details?
Yes, when I was 18 years old, which was 16 years ago, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I just finished matric, so when everyone was finishing school and having a ball, I was fighting life and death, basically, because the doctor said to me, we don't know what can happen. And when I was 18, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have gone the chemo route, but I did. And I had chemo for 9 months, and I was already stage 2B, so it was already in my chest. And I had the chemotherapy and the whole story, and I finished the chemo in the December, started in the April, finished in the December. And something said to me, I need to change my way of life. Obviously God spoke to me and said there's something and I always look back and say God does things for a reason, and he made me sick for a good reason, and I've learned so much out of it. And I went off to see a doctor in natural health, and she put me onto basically the natural way. And for a whole year I was on raw, detoxing, getting rid of all the toxins from the chemo. And for 16 years this is the road I followed, and I've never gone back, and that's why I've been so healthy, full of energy, endurance. I just can't explain the benefits of the natural way. And then I got to know about you and realized that I was already on your program before knowing you. And then obviously started studying your courses and that. I've helped a lot of people, and I find that I get a lot of cancer people as well, and I've helped a lot. And my husband eats the way I do as well. Obviously it took him a little bit of time, but slowly we introduced the principles. He saw the benefits that from me, like how come you've always got so much energy, you're bouncing off the walls. So he started changing, and now he's noticed it, and for years now he's been on the natural way. We've got 2 little kids, Keegan's 6 and Calby's 3. And they've been brought up like this from obviously day dot. And you can see it in the children. It's amazing.
You found. And then the other thing is the Hodgkin's lymphoma. What prognosis did they give you at the time? Did they know you were going to live, die? Did they to give you any good news? Was it just bad news? And has it influenced your change in diet, influenced your mum and dad and the rest of your family, for example?
Yes, the doctors said to me, we can't give you if you're going to live or die. We'll have to see. And obviously being pumped full of all those toxins, I realized I had to get rid of all those toxins, and that's where I went on to the right way of eating. And yes, I say the only reason I've been healthy for 16 years is because of the natural way. I've never looked back. From a fertility point of view as well, they say, you might not be able to have children, more with men than women. But because of my way of life, when we said we wanted to have Keegan, the first month I was pregnant. With Calby, the first month I was pregnant. There's never been issues with anything. I've had no side effects from chemo, and it's because of my way of life, and there's no doubt about that. Yes, and the doctor said, if it comes back in the first 2 years, it comes back with a vengeance, and then only a cure after 8 years. And eventually I thought, I'm not even going back for checkups or whatever, because I know I'm doing the right things. My body's in balance. I know I've got so much energy, endurance, and I'm doing very well. Yes, and it has influenced my whole family. Mom, dad, brother, we all eat this way, and it's influenced them dramatically.
Samantha, what is the difference that you've noticed? You say you can see it in the children. What's the difference between your children, for example, and other children? Because I know when I talk about my grandchildren, people think I'm just this, boasting granny. And I think most of us have found sort of similar things with the children in that. But I want you to tell us what you found.
And then with the children, yes, their energy levels are the right kind of energy. Well, for example, Keegan slept through at 6 weeks, and everyone said, oh yes, no, that was just luck of the draw and whatever. Calby came along and she slept through at 3 weeks. Colin and I don't know what it's like to get up in the middle of the night. We just don't. We've got kids that sleep well, they're in routine, they eat well, we don't have problems. Yes, they're very busy in the day, but that's normal for children. Their energy, their IQ levels. I mean, at school, there's no nonsense with the child's this or that, or they just do so well. And if they do get a cold or a sniffle, because we live in the world that everyone lives in, they just fight it so much better. We just double up on the barley life. And for example, if they've got a temperature of 39 degrees tonight, tomorrow morning as if they've never been sick. And that's what's so amazing. I mean, even my pediatrician, obviously have a pediatrician, and he just says, when you go for your developmental checks and that, and he says he can't believe it. Whatever you're doing, just carry on doing it. And he even said to me, my son suffers from headaches. Do you think I can come and see you? I mean, this comes from the pediatrician, so, which is amazing.
Samantha, I know that you've also helped, you mentioned that you've helped a couple of doctors and people that are sort of medically orientated with their diets and lifestyles, and I think it's quite fascinating that people assume that because somebody's a doctor they know everything about everything, and I think they make the mistake of not realizing that doctors don't actually study nutrition. They study diseases and how to treat them with medication. So can you just share with us, obviously don't tell us the people's names, but just some of the interesting cases you've dealt with and how their lives have changed, and possibly some of the people with cancer, and then also just tell us some of the other things you've studied. I know you've done a couple of other courses in the health field as well. You've got a degree in marketing as well. So I think what's so amazing, and people are going to look at this DVD and say, there's no way this woman can have kids. She looks like she's 12 years old. And you were telling me how when people come to the door, they kind of want to talk to Samantha, and then when you tell them you're Samantha, they get a bit uncomfortable because they think that you're sort of 18 years old or something. And they don't realize you're actually 34. And I think, obviously that's part of your lifestyle. There are always genetic factors that come into aging, but when people eat well, it's one of the things you do see. Their skin glows, they slow down the aging process, their eyes are clear, and all that makes people to look a lot younger than they are. And then you mentioned that you double up on the barley life as well with your kids. On this healthy diet, why did you feel the need to include something like barley life, and do you take any other products?
We were eating all the raw and natural, and obviously living in an imperfect world with all the environmental pollutants, we realized we also you needed something more as well, and that's where we started with the barley life. With people, you have people saying, oh, how can you get sick, but I mean, we also living in the imperfect world, and that's when we started with the barley. We have barley with just carrots and ready beets mixed together, the garden trio, with our flaxseed oil first thing in the morning. I mean, my 2 children come downstairs in the morning and they want their barley. They actually start crying if you don't get it to them quick enough. And that's how we start our day, and then about half an hour later we have our nut shakes with the almonds and all our sub-acid and acid fruits to stabilize the blood sugar and keep all those cravings away and give us what we need for the day. And yes, that's how we start off our day, and the rest of the day eating fruit.
What do you pack
in the kids' lunch boxes? I pack nuts. They love their nuts, especially cashew nuts in their lunch. In the morning they have their almonds, but for lunch they have cashews, as well as a bit of dried mango, fresh fruit. And that's all they need, because that's all they're having at school is a snack. I mean, they've had their nut shake. And then when they come home, they'll snack on nut shakes again, because they love the nut shakes. And they'll have more fruit, or if they're needing something more, maybe a little bit of brown rice with lots of avo and olive oils and the essential oils. And for dinner, yes, fresh salad and vegetables and baked potato or polenta, things like that.
And some of the case studies? Some of the people you've dealt with?
Okay, well, a doctor in particular, he phoned me up the one day and he said to me, Samantha, I'm just hearing about you all over. He says, in particular, you've helped one of my patients that I can't believe this guy has turned around. He has lost 10 kilograms and the gout has disappeared. He can breathe properly. What are you doing? Can I come and see you? And he actually came to see me. And it was like I'm telling him what to do. And I was saying to him, but you know this? And he said, no, I don't know this. Please explain to me. And he actually sent me the most beautiful letter afterwards, just saying thank you. And yes, there's other doctors as well that have sent a lot of clients to me, because it's word of mouth, everyone knows everyone in Benoni and they know where I've been. And a particular lot of doctors, they've obviously watched me since a young child and then getting sick and whatever. And the one nurse who actually came to see me from the rooms, and she said, we've watched you, and we've thought, no, okay, after this she'll get sick again, after that she'll get sick again, it will come back. And after having children, they actually say possibilities are that it comes back. After the first child didn't come back, after the second child, what is she doing? We want to know what she's doing. And and that's how they all now on the natural way, and obviously if it's working for her, it will work for us, and which is incredible. And really it's been I always say God does everything for a reason, and he's really put me in such a wonderful place, and I've had so many blessings from my whole journey.
What was your diet like before you got cancer? And can you vaguely remember?
Okay, so I was 18 when I got sick. Before that, I ate terribly. Everything that was bad. I was a chocolate queen. I had chocolates every single day of my life. A slab of chocolate every day. That was just part of, that was life, And fruit and veggies were like maybe a tiny portion of...
What did you eat for breakfast?
Oh, probably cereals, everything bad. And going to school would be at the tuck shop, probably would be Coke and chocolate bars and donuts and pies, and come home and have white rolls with cold meats probably, and at night roast potatoes. And okay, my mom always had fruit and veggies and all that, but I always wanted the bad things. And what's so amazing, and I always say to people, you can change, because from me eating rubbish to changing from one, okay, I know I've got an extreme personality, I either do it all or nothing, so I change from one day to the next. Yes, no, and like I said, I finished my chemo in December, started the diet in January, and I changed from one day to the next, and I've never cheated, and I never will. It's just because I feel wonderful, and I owe it all to you.
Well, to me. Goodness. Samantha, thanks very much. It's been wonderful that you're so honest. I think a lot of people will actually learn from what you've said. And I think at the end of the day, it's not even, it's not certainly not owing to me. I wasn't involved in the beginning, but there are a lot of people that are teaching the same principles that we teach in the natural way out there. We know that the most comprehensive research now says, nutritional research says, this is the way to live anyway. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of people hear this information and don't do anything with it. And that's the difference with you, is you heard it and you said, this is something I can do. I believe in this, and you've just gone off and done it. And I think it made sense to you more than anything else. It was like you hear the truth and you do it. And I know there have been many people who have been diagnosed with cancer and then kind of say, well, it's too hard to change my lifestyle and diet, and what if the diet doesn't work, and I've gone to all of that effort, and I kind of say, well, what have you got to lose, you know? So it's been fantastic talking to you, and yeah.
And for the people out there who think that all you're eating is lettuce and carrots, it's not. I mean, there's amazing meals. I enjoy my food, and you can really make it tasty and delicious and really enjoy it and have a good way of life. I mean, I wouldn't have been doing it for 16 years if it wasn't so divine.
Yeah. Well, that's it. There's delicious food, and if your husband wasn't getting delicious food, I think he would have run away from home. So you can see how pretty much easy it is. If you're living out on the East Rand or anywhere in Johannesburg and you have cancer or any other health problems and you feel you want some guidelines about healthy living, then just pop onto our website, www.maryannes.com, and you can get Samantha's details off the website and you can go and see her. And when are you starting the cookery demonstrations? She says as soon as possible. So that's one of the other things she will in future also be teaching how to prepare delicious, healthy meals. Thanks, Samantha.